So tonight I would like to talk about the monopolization of corporations, okay, and what is happening here in America and has happened in other countries. Now, for one, okay, you might ask yourself, what the hell is monopolization of corporations? Well, monopolization of corporations is what exactly is happening in our economy as we speak. You got effectively Kmart's been phased out by monopolization of corporation. Um, it's basically just all one merging conglomerate of companies. You know, um, the easiest one to compare that to would be your cellular networks. Sprint merged with Next, or Nextel merged with Sprint, Sprint merged with T-Mobile, T-Mobile merged with fucking Metro PCS, and so on and so forth. Now you're having this happen in basically every sector of the market right now today. But what the problem with that is the more that companies merge, the more they control what I like to call price fixing. When don't quote me on this, but when Coca-Cola and Pepsi merge, which they have had sister companies already merged together, it basically it'll be like the day that hell freezes over and we're all fucked. Along with a few other things that tie in with that, one, taking away our right to assemble, and slowly but surely taking away our freedom of speech, and essentially they're wanting to take away our right to bear arms. But well, that's a whole different subject. We'll get onto that later. But it's all an illusion, okay, of rights. But getting back to the monopolization of corporations. Now, what we've had happen here in America, and I'm going to point out facts of the problems of here in America with corporations, companies, price fixing, price gouging. So basically, I'm going to point out the flaws, and I'm going to try and make a few valid points of correction. What we have to do is, as a consumer, from a consumer standpoint, because we're all basically labeled consumers, we need to start buying more local. We need to try and buy American made, and we need to try to support our local mom and pop shops, But it's only going to slow the rate of the corporations, because it's big bank take little bank type shit. But what has happened here in America? Excuse me for the stuttering in the pauses and that, but I'm trying to figure this. Still trying to assess and figure this stuff out as it comes to play, and as it happens. So here we are. We live now in America. We're not we're not a world power anymore. We're on decline of world power. The naive American believes that we're still a world power and we're the greatest manufacturer in the world. Well, this is bullshit, people. I hate to burst your bubbles, but we are no longer a manufacturing country. We are a consuming, assembling, distributor country. Number one consumer of drugs. Number one consumer of alcohol. Number one consumer of porn. Number one consumer of corn. That's ironic also. But we are being surpassed by other countries and their peoples. And I don't just blame that on our government, although our government, we have to stop outsourcing. We have to stop companies. No, America, pay attention. We have to stop countries, or we have to stop companies from outsourcing to other countries, okay? And the reason for this is depression, recession, outsourcing is great for the companies. They make your cheap ass Nikes for $3, and then they turn around, they put them on a slow boat, bring them over here, and those $3 Nikes are now $300 Nikes over here. Meanwhile, that sweatshop worker only gets 3 cents from that pair that they made, and their fingers bleed. But here you go. Peoples of different countries, okay, have more of a drive and a commitment and a work ethic, because they grew up in poverty and in war-stricken environments and have went without for basically their whole lives. And now they're being offered, like, quote unquote, the American dream. Hey, here's a good way to earn an honest living. Now we're a manufacturing country. Meanwhile, here in America, Billy and Johnny are too good for that job because their mommy and daddy said so, and their mommy and daddy give them fucking everything in life, and they never had to go without, and they have no fucking work ethic or sense of value for anything. Everybody knows the price of something, but they don't know the value of anything in this country anymore. And this is where everything is problematic, Now, to slow this curve, like I said, of the monopolization of corporations, we have to make fucking outsourcing a pain in the ass for these countries. I might as well, basically the country is a corporation, really. It's all one big fucking corporation, monopolization of corporations. So what we have to do is we have to say we got to put our foots down and say, look, this is not going to fucking happen anymore. We're not letting this fly. We will no longer accept outsourcing in corporations here in America. That's the way to stay competitive. That's all fine and dandy from a company standpoint, from a capitalistic standpoint, capitalistic corporation standpoint. It's all fine and dandy, Let's make our Ford fucking steering wheels in Mexico, where it's cheaper, and there's no labor laws, so we can have Tito and what's his name work 20 hours a fucking day for pennies on the dollar versus back here. But as Americans, when outsourcing, I don't know if y'all noticed, but when outsourcing basically originally started, one of the biggest industries that was hit almost instantaneously was the auto industry. How fast did we flop after outsourcing? About 5 years. Not even. It took us to flop because corporate greed. my friends. Corporate greed. So, excuse me. We have to hold people accountable for what they've done to our country. You know, some of them politicians, some of them CEOs and dignitaries and yada, yada, yada. It's not you. It's not me. It's the social elite is like what I'd like to call them, or what they think they're elite. And I'm fearful for this country in the next 5 to 10 years to what the hell is going to happen. If they don't start listening to the American people, and the American people don't start waking up, the ones that haven't been woke, we're in for some very trying times. You think shit's hard right now? Just wait till all the stimulus money runs out and people figure out that there's not enough bullion, gold bullion, to back the American dollar, that basically, the Canadian dollar is already stronger than the American dollar. The euro dollar is like, I think it's almost 3 times over the American dollar. But really, it's more than that. But we don't realize that. You know, everybody, they got this stimulus money. That is, I honestly think that the COVID is a guise for a world recession / depression. And America seemed to be one of the hardest hits right off the rip because, we lived high on the hog for too long. And, now I see this thing in the news. Biden proposes this how many fucking $1 trillion stimulus. But that's like fucking putting a Band-Aid on a fucking 12-gauge shotgun wound. It's just not going to fucking happen, buddy. We're hemorrhaging here. Not to mention the fucking trillions of dollars that we still owe China for their cheaply made crap that they cram down our throats, that our fucking politicians sold us out. Let's bring all them Chinese bits over here. Meanwhile, the American people that use said fucking tool or whatever that fucking pokes their eye out and it breaks. And really, they think they're saving money, but really in the long run, we're pissing money down the drain. Because if we would have bought one fucking American, well-made American product that ain't even fucking made in this country anymore, because you can't even fucking get it because it's not made here. So we effectively fucked ourselves as an American people. So you take a long look hard in the mirror. I mean, like I say, it's not you and it's not me. It's the higher ups, but we let it happen. I let it happen too. I dropped the ball, and a lot of other Americans did too. Now, I noticed that the unions don't have the pull like they used to either because of the right to work. I fall in the right to work category because I was never eligible to be in the union because of my driving offenses. But if you look in my back in my other videos, you might be up to speed on that too. But so here we go. The unions don't have the pull like they used to. And the union jobs ain't there like they used to be. Not only that, the pension money isn't there like it used to be because these motherfuckers borrowed against the pensions till there's nothing in there. And then now they have the audacity to say that, Fred, who's fucking worked 35 to 40 years being an iron worker, yeah, by the grace of God, made it through his fucking whole career. He can count to 10 on all his fingers, and he's got all his fingers and toes, and he's not on oxygen, and he still can fucking see, and he didn't fall to his death, peril of death. Well, now he's a fucking liability, Here he is. He's 65. He's collecting Social Security, and he's collecting his fucking pension. But guess what? He's a liability, even though he's already paid into that, and he's being taxed once when he paid into it, and once when he's fucking drawing his pension. So you're getting taxed twice, but he's still, that old son of a bitch Fred is still considered a liability, because you know what? The money's fucking not there, and people are living too long. He's outliving his, you know what I mean? The life expectancy of a person is a little bit longer than it was when the pensions first got started. So now you're seeing these companies and these unions, they're instead of pensions, they're offering 401k and Roth IRAs, which that takes away the liability of them having to support your ass. You know what I mean? That like for instance, look at what we go back to the automotive industry. We go back to Fords. What did they do? Actually, they were pretty smart with what they did, because knowing how feeble-minded most people are, offer them that big short cash so we can cut ties with them, so they're not draining our pensions and they're not draining on our fiscal year for that year. So offer them $45,000 a vehicle and call it that. And guess what? A lot of them chomped hook, line, and sinker. Now, I give props to Fords, because they're the ones that come up with the shit. I don't know who dreamed it up, but they were one of the first companies to do that buyout shit. Now I look at some of these people that took the buyout, and they live with their fucking mothers that, got one foot in the fucking grave, or they live with their brothers, or they live, you know what I mean? They still got they got their brand new car, but it ain't brand new no more, and that bitch needs to be serviced, and the parts on its way from Mexico. But guess what? You got to pay for it out of pocket. With money that you don't have because you took the buyout. Are you with me so far, America? So this is what I ponder nights here in my garage, because guess what? I was never in a union. I told all these motherfuckers to fuck off and suck a fat dick. And I'm still doing it. And now guess what? I live in a garage because I'm a truth seeker and I'm a truth speaker. And I get hated on for that, and I get ridiculed and prosecuted against and called just basically every name in the fucking book. Now they've tried to institutionalize me many different ways and forms, by gaslighting, by discrediting me, by false accusations, and by the police too. But a lot of privatized interest in there. But I'm the demon and I'm the bad guy and all this shit, and I'm crazy, and they effectively gaslit me and put me in the loony bin, and oh yeah, he's crazy, don't listen to him, he's crazy. Well, I think you all are fucking crazy if you haven't woken up to the fact that this country is going to hell in a handbasket, and there's very little we can do about it. And and now here you go. You want the true definition of crazy? You go to that fucking dead-end, quote-unquote, career job at Chrysler's, Ford's, GM, whatever, okay? But you know, guess what? It's not a career anymore because you got to go through a fucking temp service. And guess what that temp service does? Because they got to deal with the fucking bigwigs in there. Because guess what? It boils down to a corporation. And you know what happens? You do 89 days and you can be a fantastic fucking worker there 15 minutes early and do your job and get all your quota and all that shit. And guess what? 89 and out. And you know why they do this now? So they don't even have to offer you a 401k. Because guess what? You're a new employee. 89 and out. Well, you cycle back through. You know what I mean? Unless you're really damn lucky and you know someone, you're not going to see a 401k or a Roth IRA or none of that shit. You're just not, unless you set it up on your own and do it yourself. You're not going to see retirement. You're going to work right into the fucking grave just like me. I'm not happy about it either. But the difference between me and a lot of other people is I could give two shits less about the fucking fake ass money. Because, you know, I can't eat it. I can burn it, but it don't burn very long. I mean, it's tangible. But other than that, I mean... So yeah, the monopolization of corporations here in America is effectively killing the American people and starving us out. It's very scary, you know. And I've seen so many broken homes, and I've talked to so many broken people over this, including veterans, you know, and in all walks of life, all races, colors, gender, even, you know, and occupations for that matter. It's ruining the American people slowly but surely. And everybody just thinks that the stimulus money, yeah, people, this is the new breadline money. You remember? Well, some of you may or may not remember this in history. But the bread lines, this is the new form of a bread line. And it's a scary thought, you know, that I have children, which I think are mine, that are coming up in this world that basically they don't even have a fucking hope or a prayer. And what's really scary is now there's going to be a big educational gap along with this. Because a lot of families can't afford the computers, and they're not connected with this Zoom bullshit, and you know we're gonna have a whole fucking couple of generations of children that are very, what are the words? They're not going to be well read. They're not going to have very much education. They're going to be like, it's a scary thought. It's going to be like in like the, it's going to be like the fucking Wild West here in another couple of years. Mark my words. You're going to have a whole couple of generations of uneducated people that are so out of touch with reality that it's fucking mind-blowing. And here you go, they grew up on video games and they don't really have a sense of consequence for the most part. And like I said, they don't have a fucking good touch on reality. I know reality for the cold hard truth. And I'm just fearful for this country and its people. You know, I'm going to survive either way. God willing, you know, it might not be pretty. You know, I might stink. I might look like hell, but I'm surviving. They ain't going to starve me out because I'll just start eating rich. No, I'm joking. But seriously, though, that's starting to sound like a good idea. Because we're running out of food. The The lower lifes like myself are running out of food down here, and I haven't had some good meat in a minute. And some of you fat fuckers up there in Congress are looking pretty fucking tasty. No, but seriously though, there's about to be a regime change. And it's not going to be for their new world order. It's going to be for our new world order. Because there's a lot more of us than there are of you. So, crooked politicians and backdoor bullshitters out there, take heed. This is America. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And we will not be enslaved.